Chronicle. I'm Jacob McClellan. Cape Girardeau City staff and City Council members recently held a retreat where they outlined 5-year goals. They also identified the challenges and obstacles the city will face as they move forward. I'm in the studio now with Cape Girardeau City Manager Scott Meyer. Scott, thank you so much for coming by to talk with us.
It's always a pleasure.
Well, first, let's talk about this idea of 5-year goals, of department heads and City Council kind of getting together and talking about these things. Is this something that the city has always done?
Well, not since I've been here, really sat down and go into some of the specific goals that we had. We really, almost 3 years ago now when I came on board, we really began to work on vision, on values, on a mission statement, and big organizational and cultural change. But now as we've taken care of some of the big problems and started working on that big change, getting to some of those details of how we're going to plan and change in the next 5 years by department.
Well, let's talk about about those challenges that you've addressed in the last few years. What are some of these challenges that the city has had to address?
Well, we had, I called it the top 10 challenges. We had strained finances. We didn't have a very big unrestricted fund balance, and we've taken care of that and built up a safe balance of over 8% plus our emergency funds. So that puts us in a good financial situation. The wastewater treatment plant was in violation, and so we've worked through that, developed a plan. The voters bought in and funded that plan at their expense and to their credit. And so now then we're soon going to start construction of that. No downtown anchor. We had a desire for downtown anchor, but we took advantage of an opportunity of a casino, the 13th license, and moved forward on that. We had a retiree health care fund benefit that was unfunded into the future, a real financial challenge and a real financial threat to our city. We worked with employees to address that and come up with a plan that is sustainable into the future. Trash pickup, we were at our capacity there, and recycling wasn't going so well. We revamped that into an automated automated system that now has lots of capacity, and recycling is up 55%. The commander hangar, we're moving forward with that, move them into court, hope to solve that here in the next month or two. And then poor passenger air service. I only have to say 2 words, Cape Air has really come on, and the capital improvement plan went from a non-working wish list to now having all of our assets in there and really figuring out how to best manage those assets. We had a city brand that kind of got lost with the chamber, didn't have a city even in the name, so now we say City of Cape. We do that, and then we had an antiquated information technology system that we're now making an investment in, and really have a system that I think that can save us a lot of money going into the future.
Well, with these problems, with these obstacles, I guess now addressed. Looking forward, what are the city's plans? How are you going to take advantage of having already moved past these challenges that you mentioned?
Well, like you said, each of the departments came in and talked about in their future what were they planning for, and what are some of the things that offer us an ability to drive operating costs down. And what things can we do now with our processes to avoid these same types of problems coming up in the future? So looking at a lot of planning things, looking at annexation strategy to look at the whole, how do we annex and how do we manage those assets going forward, and how fast do we grow? A parks and trail plan that says how does that look going into the future, and how do we operate that in a sustainable fashion? Our transfer station is something that we're looking at. We're looking at things where some of the technology that we're investing in can help us. Electronic ticketing. We currently, I think it's like 7 or 8 people handle a ticket and put things into the computer. Now we can do it once. We can scan. Not ready to do that. If we get this funded in the future, then we would be able to scan people's driver's license, scan their license plate, all that information automatically loaded and populates everyone's. So going into the future, that's a huge saver that can save taxpayer dollars. Making business-friendly processes that will help us also drive costs down and serve the customer better. Reward our good customers with maybe multi-year licenses, so they only have to apply once every 2 or 3 years.
Well, you talked about some of these technological changes. How does that affect work at City Hall? Just getting some new software to make work more efficient there.
Well, I think it's a lot of our processes become manual, and we manually track something, put it in the computer, but because we can't manipulate the databases and those things, we have people having two systems. Well, that's frustrating as an employee when you know that a system exists out there where you wouldn't have to do that, and that frees your time up to better spend the taxpayers' resources.
Looking forward right now, and I spent quite a bit of time talking with our previous guest, Marla Mills, about Cape Girardeau's downtown. But looking forward for you, what do you see? What's your vision? What do you want to see Cape Girardeau's downtown region look like, in 3 or 5, 10 years?
Well, I think if you look at the dream plan and what it had called for, it did call for that anchor. That's important. And then we've called for investment, which we're investing in Broadway. Now then, I really look to capitalize on that, and of course the casino fund does have within it a downtown capital improvement fund, so we'll be able to update a few things and really I think be a catalyst for getting in private investments to come downtown, and then really spurring that area on to become vibrant every single day of the year.
Well, you mentioned those casino revenues. Are there any estimates as to how much revenue the casino will be able to bring in for the city each year, briefly?
Nominally, it's around $3 million. It could be more than that or less than that, but that's kind of the nominal number we've been using.
We've been talking today with Scott Meyer. He's Cape Girardeau's city manager. Scott, thank you so much for coming by to talk with us today. It's been a pleasure.
It's always a joy.